The number of living World War II veterans is quickly shrinking, and every veteran's life story is different. Tonight, we hear from a veteran with memories vivid enough that we can almost imagine what it must have been like the day he earned his Purple Heart, as we go along the way to Sturgis. This is 93-year-old World War II veteran Salvador Chuck Valades of Sturgis, awarded a Purple Heart after being shot on a German battlefield.
It's a miracle. That's why I consider myself a walking miracle.
But before we get to that, let's start at the start. Born March 7th of 1926 in Edgemont, South Dakota, a first-generation Mexican-American. His parents immigrated from Mexico. His dad worked for the railroad in Edgemont, and they lived in a boxcar off the tracks. His parents and his siblings. He grew up in that boxcar with a Catholic faith. After graduating from high school in 1944, he was drafted into the Army at the age of 17.
My mother didn't want me to go. She said, our religion doesn't condone this killing, but I felt it was my duty.
After some training, like so many, he boarded a troop ship for a 2-week trip to Europe, eventually traveling across France by boxcar to Germany. He says they walked all night to get to the front lines after they had first picked up their gun, bandolier of ammunition, and 1 hand grenade each. He was chosen by the lieutenant to be the radio man, and 6 days after his 18th birthday, he and the lieutenant went up a little ahead of the rest of the platoon.
This is when we got kind of towards the top. It cracked like that, and I went down. I must have passed out, because when I come to, my radio's gone, and the lieutenant was gone. I laid there.
He points to where the bullet entered his chest on his first day of active combat.
It hit the bandolier and it severed the cross off of my rosary. This deflected enough so that this slug, rather than going through me, it lodged in my liver.
Instead of perhaps his heart. Shortly after he was shot, he says the rest of the platoon was coming closer.
And the Germans opened up on him. I don't know how many survived. All I could see him, people dropping and getting hit, and they fell down, but there wasn't much cover, you know.
He says a medic showed up, dressed his wound, and he was taken to a temporary hospital where they took the bullet out. He believes God intervened to save his life, and he's quick to explain why. He remembers before he left for Europe.
My mother would kneel me down in front of her and pray for me.
And remember the hand grenade each man was issued? He says they hung it on the lapel of their combat shirts, but he says his fell off during that night-long hike.
If I had that grenade on my shirt when I got hit, what would have happened?
He would see no more combat. He got out of the Army in July 1946. He went to business college, got married, and with his wife raised 3 kids, 2 engineers and a dentist. Though he has a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, he says he's absolutely not a hero. That the heroes are the ones that gave their lives.
Yeah, we were there. We did what we had to do, but they're the heroes.
Regardless, it's easy to see why more than 7 decades later, 93-year-old Salvador Chuck Valades says he's a walking miracle. Valades worked at Fort Meade for 36 years before retiring in 1988. And if you've met someone cool along the way, please call or email us to let us know.
Well, he has such clear memories, and it's so awesome to hear those stories because we're losing more World War II veterans every single day. So what struck you the most about him?
The amazing power of one generation. His parents came to America looking for opportunity. They started by picking onions and picking beets before settling down in that boxcar in Edgemont. And in Chuck's lifetime, he's a Purple Heart recipient. And even though he won't say it, I will. He's a hero.
He is.
But he and his wife raised those 2 engineers and a dentist. And I don't know where they live, but I'm guessing it's not in a boxcar. All that change in just one generation.